welcome back to another episode of Rap Drinks. Obviously, we're not in the normal set. We're at Atlas Lens Co. in Glendale. Thanks for hosting us. And today we have Rian Johnson, just some guy, you know. Ryan's a writer-director. He's known for Brick, Looper, movie that's coming out right now, Wake Up Dead Man. So we're going to get into it with him. What's up? This is a real thing.
Ryan, welcome to Rap Drinks, man.
Guys, I'm a big fan of this podcast. I'm excited.
Can you explain? Because even we're like, really?
you seem confused when I got into
yeah.
We were shocked.
a little bit of a lag. Yeah. So I've been following Shitty Rigs for a while. I've loved Shitty Rigs, and then I checked out the podcast, and it was when you had the loader Annie.
Abrazazi.
Yeah. She was so cool. And she was, and then I went back and started listening to the episodes kind of like from the start. I don't know. I'll embarrass you guys right off the bat. This is my favorite podcast about filmmaking.
Oh, man.
I think wow.
It's because
wow.
And look,
that's for the back of the book.
No, it's true. I feel like this is, because I mean, my wife has like a podcast about film history. I listen to podcasts that like film critics do and people who love movies and talk about it and stuff. This is the only thing I listen to that I feel like if you're out there and you actually want to make movies, this gives you a sense of what it's like to be on a set, what's like actually working on a set. And for me, I love being on sets so much. I only get to be on them every like year or two. I'm not working around the clock.
Yeah.
I get nostalgic and so listening to your podcast, it's almost like reading a letter from home or something. It's like, oh,
that's cool.
All right, enough like gloating.
All right, sorry.
All right, so
sorry.
I want to get into like, how did you get into filmmaking? And it's an interesting thing too, because you're a writer-director. Are you only a writer-director? You only direct what you write, or?
Yeah, mostly in features. I've only directed what I've written. I've done a little bit of TV, and then that I've just directed, and that's heaven because writing sucks. Writing is terrible. So I like doing that. But no, I got into. I just kind of grew up just making movies with my friends on the weekends in high school. Like that was. It wasn't like we were making them to any end or like to submit to film festivals or anything. That was just what we did to hang out. It was just like get the camera, let's hang out and make a movie. And so and also, when you're doing it kind of in that mode, it's not like it's writing and directing. It's just you're just making the movie. You're kind of making it up as you go along.
Right.
At that time with the tech we had, because it was still tape based, it was editing in camera, and so. But the thing is, like that, I did end up going to film school, but that really is, that was really film school because you're learning, you're getting comfortable with a camera in your hands and visual language. You're learning editing because you're doing in-camera editing. Yeah. And so you're building it shot by shot in a way that's really fundamental. Yeah. So, we were talking before we started getting rolling just about how in film school you
put like all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, you
senior project.
You do like one, or even if you do like 5 movies over the course of a semester. I had made like literally 100 shorts by the time I graduated high school. But they all sucked. But it doesn't matter because you're like
it's to get better for the next one.
It's to get better. Yeah, exactly. And also it's to have fun. I mean, that's the other thing of it is like learning how to make movies in the context of it's the thing you do for fun with your friends when you're hanging out. That also
To be clear though, even though the shorts you say sucked, 100 shorts in high school is still a lot.
It was a lot. No, quantity wise, I will not argue with it. Yeah, the quantity. Yeah.
I hope they're all like uploaded to YouTube now after the fact.
Jesus,
like
some
baried channel.
I'm so happy there was no phones.
Thank God the internet did not exist. I put a few of them up like on my Vimeo channel, but only that's the cream of the crop, so that'll give you an idea when you watch. Kind of.
Do you still work with any of the people that you made like in high school, or are you kind of now relegated to more?
So I'm still tight with my high school friends, but they're not in the film business. But my cousin Nathan, who actually before high school, we started making movies together when we were like 10 years old with our parents' video camera.
Nice.
And because we grew up in Denver together, we were really tight. And he's my composer now. He's done all my
That's
movies.
So cool.
So we're like still making movies together. Yeah, since we were 10 years old. It's pretty cool.
I've actually noticed that there's been a lot of people. I want to talk about Brick because I think like Brick is really great for shitty rigs, like just making something happen. But also about Brick, a lot of people who helped you on Brick and worked on Brick, I see that you're still collaborating with today, which is awesome. Like
Yeah.
that. Is there something like with your crews and even your cast where you like to like make it feel like that indie movie, even though you're on a different level now?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like the goal with all of them. And I've been really, really lucky that I feel like every movie I've done, I mean, honestly, man, even the Star Wars movie I did, it like, I don't know, it felt like everyone who's working on it said, it felt kind of like the world's biggest indie movie, sort of. And I think it's part of that is exactly that. I mean, Steve Yedlin, who's my cinematographer, we met on a student film set. Steve was still in high school. I was a freshman at USC, and Steve was basically like this kid who was like running the camera department on the student film set. And I was, because I had been used to just like grabbing a camera and running and doing it. So the pace of a student film set, I was bored to death and I was so useless. Literally, when they ran out of sandbags, they would ask me to sit on C-stands to hold them. I am not even joking. Like I was like,
Blood bag.
yeah. And Steve took pity on me and like showed me how to, how to load a camera. So yeah.
When you were a freshman, was directing what you wanted to do? Because I feel like a lot of the people we talk to when they go to film school, everybody wants to be the director. Everybody wants to be the DP, and then they're like, "Oh, that's going to happen to 1%." Like, did you know? Like,
yeah, I mean, yeah, that's always what I wanted to do. I always wanted to kind of make movies, and but I knew the odds, but I kind of I don't know. I also didn't really, I don't know. I didn't really have a backup. Like I kind of when I graduated college, I thought, well, okay, I'll try and work my way into editing, and I just never got a foothold in that. I'm kind of relieved. I mean, there's a weird thing where like, I mean, you guys know better than I do even that, the director is like the only entry level position on a film set. Really, it's like the reality is, I'm kind of, I'm kind of glad I didn't start getting work on film sets because wanting to be a writer director at a school, that's not what I did to support myself. I wasn't working on sets. And people who want to write and direct, that's actually advice that I give them. Is it may seem tempting because you feel like you're close to the process. If you want to see how it is, do it. That's great. But as opposed to with like an HOD of any other department, it's not like there's a path through working your way up through being on sets to being a director. And not only that, it pulls all of your time and energy into that works. And what you really need is time to work on your script or to work on your shorts, and so
you're also probably doing research during that time, right? Like what's that like for you? Because if you work on set, you get experience through other people you're working with. Like how are you kind of training or doing work to be a director?
Well, so yeah, I mean, it goes back to the entry level thing. When I showed up on Brick, I had never worked beyond the level of just a camera and a couple of friends. And I think it's very different now, but I graduated USC not even knowing what an AD does. I didn't know how a real set worked. That's the other reason I love this podcast and feel like anyone who wants to actually make movies should listen to it, because I wish that I had access to something like this and actually knew a little bit more about how a film set actually operated. But you're coming in.
It's like another plug.
But also the directing, you come up to speed pretty quickly. You can learn that stuff. And also the thing that everyone on set is counting a director to be good at is not actually navigating all the departments on set. In terms of on set, the thing that is actually important to be good at when you're directing is to know the movie you're making, know what you're going for, know when you've got to take with the actors, kind of all the stuff that you learn just with a camera and a couple of friends. I think. I don't know. If you guys agree, though,
I mean, somebody's got to drive the ship. Somebody's got to have the vision that's pushing you through, and like all the other departments are there to support, for sure.
The director has to be the cheerleader that's getting everyone kind of focused. That's how I see it. Because when the director's not the person that's like this way, then everyone's kind of pulling in different directions, and then you start getting muddied waters, and then that's when you get some infighting, and it's like mutiny on a ship,
Tell the stories, man. Spill it. Tell the story.
No, I'm not gonna spill that one. But I do want to talk, because Brick, you spent 7 years trying to make this movie.
Yeah,
that's commitment.
It was
Like
a
I
lot.
feel like I couldn't do that.
Commitment
How
or
do you, like-
stupidity. That's
Well, I mean, like what eventually got it to the next level? Because I feel like a
Yeah.
lot of times you get stuck and you're like what got you where
Yeah,
it was
how
like
do you
now we're
keep-
making it?
How do you keep chasing it? How do you keep working, like, and reminding yourself like this is what I want to do throughout that process?
I mean, I wrote it when I was right out of college. So yeah, and this is anyone who's listening who doesn't know. So Brick was my first movie. It's a really weird movie. It's kind of like a Dashiell Hammett Maltese Falcon mystery, but set in a high school. But all the teenagers talk like they're in a Dashiell Hammett book. It's bizarre.
I love that, like the interrogation with the vice principal. It's
yeah.
like
Oh,
it
yeah.
seems so much like he's talking to the chief of police. He's like,
Yeah.
"Get off my back!"
Yeah,
He's like
yeah.
the rogue.
Yeah.
It's so like
Yeah.
that's not a kid. That's like a
Yeah.
35-year-old cop that's been shot 3 times. Like,
And that was Richard Roundtree, and I was shitting myself on set that day because that was a big get. Like we had Shaft coming in to like do one day in our movie, and Shaft, which itself is also like a genre spin on like a Dashiell Hammett type thing. So like, but he was so cool, man. I can only imagine what he thought, what Richard Roundtree thought, showing up at this high school in San Clemente. We're all a bunch of kids, and he's like reads these pages, but he rolled with it. He was really cool.
That's awesome.
So I wrote it right out of college. So I wrote it when I was like 22.
Yeah.
And then I did the thing that I think everyone does when they're trying to get a movie made. I gave it to a friend of a friend who was a line producer. They broke it down and they said, okay, you're going to need whatever it was, 2.5 million to make this movie. And you think, I need 2.5 million to make this movie. And you proceed to go out into the world and not get 2.5 million. And we tried every pathway at the time. We tried attaching, because it was a time also when there were a lot of like teen movies happening that were doing well. So there were a lot of like teen stars. So we tried attaching different people to it, tried setting it up. It almost came together a few times and fell apart. But I was also, I mean, I had no connections in the film business. So Steve, my DP, was working just as, Sparks, just as an electrician on different low budget sets. He would bring like a few physical copies of the script with him onto sets, and if he spotted like a line producer, if he spotted a line producer he thought it was all right, he would drop it in or hand it to him or something. And that actually went a long way in terms of, because it was also over those 8 years, because I also just was not a networker. I wasn't good at any of that. So it was a slow process of shotgunning the script out to anyone in town who would read it. Yeah. And slowly we found a casting director who would help us out. And slowly I found my producer, who ended up kind of fixing my head in terms of how to actually approach getting it made. Which was, he was like, look, yeah, you can look for $2.5 million the rest of your life. The reality is this is a fucking weird script. You need to just figure out how much money we can get our hands on right now. That's your budget. And then we back into it and figure out how to do it for that. So that's what we did.
I don't want to call it compromise, but like they say that like there's the movie you write, the movie you shoot, and the movie you edit. And I know that in the past you talked about like Brick has a lot of oneers in it, but then in the final edit you ended up chopping them up. Can you talk about like the process of like, I mean, that's kind of like killing your baby. It's like if you wanted it this way, what was the thought process to like get it down to what it ended up?
I mean, it kind of is, but it's also, I don't know, because there's a fine line between killing your baby and finding what the thing kind of wants to be. And so I feel like you can also maybe fuck yourself up by thinking in terms of, here's my pure vision of what the thing should have been, and every deviation from that is a compromise. The reality is, if you're starting out with kind of like an idea of what the thing's going to be, it's not a series of compromises. It's just a journey where you're constantly making decisions based on the best way to get there. Yeah. And that's not always going to be what you're going to expect. So, I mean, I think that edit thing is a good example of it. Like it wasn't, I shot like, cause I was, I didn't know. I just like shot a bunch of scenes in these long oneers, got in the edit and was completely fucked because the movie didn't work and it was bloated and way too long. And I had I didn't have like even a cutaway to go to. So I did these jump cuts, but that then led to this really interesting vibe in the movie that ended up informing. So Yeah, I don't know. It's like a pathway, I guess.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's like a happy accident almost, but then it probably taught you to just think about coverage afterward, right?
I'd never shoot a oneer without giving myself an out anymore. I don't shoot oneers mostly at all, but yeah, I will, even if I am supremely confident, I will always just give myself something. So it's like, okay, I learned my lesson.
It feels like that one too. It almost lends itself to the rec because there's a lot of like really quick in the fight scenes. There's where Joseph Gordon-Levitt, like the knife man comes after him and stuff. It's like there's that really quick cutaway of just like the jacket getting cut. It's like the jump cuts everywhere else lend itself to the same process.
I love that scene for the sound. He's running. And he does that. He does that like 2-hop. It's like click, click, and then he like click, click, click,
speeds
click,
back up, coming around the corner. It's so cool.
So we planned that out to be kind of like a drum solo. So because Joe plays drums, and the guy Cody Lightning, one of Joe's buddies, who's an actor, came in, played the thug who chases him. I think he was also a musician. So basically, right before the take would roll, I had essentially a click track that we would play for them to get them on rhythm. And we had a thing where Cody is playing basically the kick drum. He's playing the boom, 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 and Joe's doing that on top of it. And then like, and then
you get the cymbal crash at the end.
You get a big cymbal crash. Yeah. That was like
that's like a great use of how sound can like really like enhance like a scene. Like it just adds to that drama, you know.
Well, and I think that's like anytime you can, and this is something just like being a Coen Brothers fan, I grew up thinking a lot about it. Anytime when you're even in the writing phase, you can build storytelling of a scene around a sound-based idea, it's going to be, I mean, it's a lot of fun to do. And I feel like the audience just doesn't get that very often. And that's going to be a good payoff. Yeah.
After you did Brick, you did Brothers Bloom. Was that the next transition?
Yeah. So Brick, we took it to Sundance. We won the lottery twice because we got into Sundance, which is really hard, and then Focus Features picked it up at Sundance. Wow. And so then that kind of gave us the juice to get the next movie made. I had been broke in LA and felt I hated LA at that point. I love it now, but at the time I felt trapped in LA. And I kind of wrote the Brothers Bloom as this big globetrotting adventure because I wanted to have a big globetrotting part of it. But it was also me like trying to fit everything I loved into one movie a little bit. I think the movie kind of feels like that, you know.
It starts so crazy, like just the like talking about like with the one horse town.
Yeah,
there's the one cat with the one leg, and you're like, where do you come up with these? Like, there's these little. I don't want to call the cat a prop, but like there's props in all your movies that are very specific.
Yeah.
Like, is that part of when you come up with the initial concept of the movie?
Yeah, it happens in the writing. It's kind of like when you're writing it, you kind of, I don't know. Some of the stuff is in the original concept. Some of the stuff you come up on the day. And then all of it, as you guys know, filters through some poor guy in Belgrade who has to figure out how to get the whole thing strapped onto a kitten and keep it in the booth. That was the thing with that movie. Oh my God. We got to get into a couple of stories about, because we shot that in Belgrade in Serbia. We were based in Belgrade, had a Serbian crew, and then we traveled around to like Romania and Prague for like 2 days and Montenegro. We kind of went all around Eastern Europe.
And what timeline was this?
This is around 2007, I want to say.
Okay, so the film industry wasn't
It was the wild, wild west. And now I should also clarify, now Belgrade is a great place to shoot. They have stages. They have great crews. It was a different world back then.
Yeah. It's because of you. Is that?
We were actually, well, no, not like because of us, but we were kind of like the spearhead a little bit at that time. There wasn't a lot else that was shooting there. And the production services woman, Angie, who we use, is now kind of the queen of Belgrade with production services. So, but oh my God, there was like, so I just have so many stories from that shoot. We had our second unit DP, Jaron Prasant, who is a super accomplished DP in his own right at this point. And he's another guy that we went to film school with and I've just been friends with forever. He was shooting second unit, his AC, and Jaron's like, you know, he's a, sorry, Jaron, he's a small man. He's not a big man. His first, was a massive, cartoonishly massive Serbian guy with like a bald head and kind of like, I talk like this, yes. And he had like 3 words of English. Yes, we're shooting at a 5.6, 5.6. And so at some point, Jaron realized that the tape measure he was taking the measurements in was in meters and the lenses were in feet.
Oh,
Nice.
shit.
And he was just doing the translation. It's like insanity. But yeah, oh my God. I remember
Can you
that.
tell us the bar story that you told us?
Wait, which one?
You
There's
said-
a
Oh,
couple,
which one?
There's a couple bar
There was,
stories.
like,
I think you said like your key grip was like impersonating you to get.
Oh my God. Okay, yes. No. So no, this is the fucking Sean Guest, who was amazing first AD. And he's British, of course. It's always the Brits. It's always the fucking Brits. So Sean looks like a Viking. He's like 7 feet tall and blonde hair and just like, and there was one club in Belgrade called like Magazine. And the whole shoot, everyone was saying, we got to go to Magazine. I'm just like, I don't want to go to Magazine. I don't want to make it. I don't want to do that. And then at the very last week of shooting, we're like, okay, we're going to Magazine. Let's see what this place is about. And so late night, we go out and we go with the whole crew and we approach and there's like the red velvet rope in front. And the massive, like, probably with 8 bullets in him, like Serbian bouncer is up there. And he sees us coming and Sean is walking ahead of me. And he looks at Sean and he goes, welcome back, Mr. Johnson. And opens up the building gate. And I was like, you know what? Respect.
Just roll with it.
Respect. It's all right. Yeah, the Brits, man.
That's awesome.
What was the challenge with, like, because you go from Brick, which is a scrappy movie, and then you go to Brothers Bloom, which has budget. What was the challenge there?
I mean, we had a budget. It still felt pretty damn scrappy because we were.
Is there ever enough money? Like,
there was literally like craft service at some point, and part of this is the budget. Part of it is just kind of Eastern Europe at the time. I remember at one point craft service came around with like snacks on trays. It was. I'm not making this up. It was literally a radish, like an apple-sized radish, whole.
Oh my God.
Like a couple of them on the tray. I mean, it just came by, and all of us were like, what are we supposed to do with this?
And that giant first AC just grabs you.
Radish is good. I mean, honestly, the biggest, because, I think this kind of extends up through like making the Star Wars movie was another kind of leap in terms of scale and budget that I'd never experienced before. I don't know, from the specific viewpoint of a director, it only, and from my experience of it only makes everything kind of easier. It just suddenly it makes everything or if not easier, I don't know how to describe why it doesn't have a massive effect on like my experience of it. Also, I guess the reality is the bigger budget stuff, like the things that you get with more money, are typically they're visible to the departments, but they're all happening. My essential work when I show up on set is still the camera. It's a couple of actors, and then we're kind of at the hub. And no matter how big the wheel is with the spokes that come in and deliver all the things that we need, that can be bigger and bigger. And that's more and more work for the people who, the department heads and the people who coordinate it. If you're in that kind of like center of the hub, my experience is just that I don't know. It's kind of similar, but the actors were the big difference for me on Brothers Bloom. That was kind of the real. I mean, we had amazing, obviously Joe Gordon-Levitt and Lucas Haas. We had great actors on Brick, but we were all kind of kids, and I didn't know like what a blocking rehearsal was. I would literally show up in the morning, set the camera. We would put down marks. The actors would come in, and I would say, okay, you stand here and say this, then you stand over here and say this. And they just rolled with it. And then Brothers Bloom, Rachel Weisz shows up, and you can't pull that shit. I found out very quickly. Yeah. So, And then I was terrified. I was like, and then I didn't want to tell her where to stand ever. And I was like, oh, just kind of do whatever you want. And she's like, we can't figure it. It's a happy medium here. So that was kind of the big learning curve for me, you know?
Yeah, just like that structure that gets added when you start adding these bigger names. Yeah,
it's structure, but I guess, I don't know. It's also just kind of learning how to.
But it's also what they're expecting too, probably, right, on set, because like you have like Adrian Brody, Mark Ruffalo, they've probably already done tons of movies beforehand, so they've worked with the directors who have a process that's probably ingrained with that blocking rehearsal stuff. So for you, you're like, oh, okay, this is a thing that now I have to kind of learn through you without asking you how to do it.
It's a weird thing, man. It's like, I don't know. It is also odd how like even now when I've like developed my way of doing it, the one thing I never get to do is see other directors work. And so I don't know if I'm doing it right. I don't know if the way I do it is the normal way of doing it is. I suspect it's not. So
I feel like there are some directors that don't have any, I'm not going to say don't have any say, but they don't fight for like camera positions as much. So I've heard on like Knives Out, if you watch the movie, it's told like from your heights. So it's like your standing height or your kneeling height or your laying down height kind of thing. And it's like you're finding the camera position during the blocking rehearsal. Is that like a conversation that you have figured out with Steve? It's just easier to work for you guys, or
it's a way that we just kind of learned how to do it. At some point, I think on Brick, I would just like, okay, I would do it, line up with the camera. At some point, it was either Bloom or Looper. I kind of figured out that I got a hold of the director's finder, and it was like a game changer for me. And so
you're like, where has this been?
I like that you hold it like a rifle.
Well, you hold your support in the lens and kind of and so that's how this day that's how I do it. I'll like put a lens on a stick. I'll get the line shot set up. And then, and then like the AC will take the measure of the height and mark where it's at, and then that's where we'll put the camera. And it does end up being basically one of three heights. Like you said, there's me standing, there's me squatting, there's me kneeling, and there's me lying on my back, ruining my shirt, like getting the shot. So I don't know, but you just kind of figure out your way of doing it.
Yeah,
do it.
Do you ever find that like
this is happening?
Oh, hey.
Oh, hell yeah.
10:30 a.m.
Yeah.
Come on.
Sorry for the rest of the events you have.
Apologies. It's all right. They can live. That's all right.
You've said that like you don't really get to see how other directors work, but Steve has worked with other people. Do you ever notice, like, does he come back from doing a project and like has a new trick that he's like, we should try this out?
You know, I always want him to. I'm always like, what have you learned from the outside world?
Give me the intel.
Locked in the basement.
Like, what news from the far regions? No, I always want that, and he never gives it to me. We always just revert back to kind of the way of working, I guess. But I don't know. I feel like I'm, or similarly, when I talk to, people that I'm working with, whether they're HODs or on the set or whatever, and they've worked with a director that I love, I'll try and pump them for information about like specific working processes.
They're like, Ryan, leave me alone. You're like,
I think I creeped them out. I think I creeped them out a little bit.
Dude, I'm trying to level this track.
Yes, I know. They're actually trying to do their job. So yeah, I don't know.
Let's talk about Looper and this very dystopian view of the future. My favorite part of Looper is how you set up time travel, because like, there's
saying we're not going to set up time travel.
No, it's like, well, you're like in the future there's time travel, and then they immediately outlaw it, and then criminal organizations and governments use it, and everyone can be like, that checks out.
It can make sense.
Yep. Is that your view of the future? This like dystopian. I love how like the cars are kind of like they're just like shitty mods of normal cars, or was that just like a practical?
No, that was. I mean, it's kind of a practical. When you make anything in the future, it's cars and street signs are the two things you got to figure out how to deal with, basically. And so everything else is is not too complex, but. So it was a little bit of, okay, we got to figure out an approach to the cars. And I thought about like, the Yank tanks in Cuba, and sort of the idea that, okay, if the society is broken down, we'll take that approach to it. But I don't know, in terms of, it also, though, it's less about kind of a futurism or like projecting forward about what it will be or something. To me, it's all just like what's going to serve the story that we're telling. And that was more than anything where that came from. Is the whole thing kind of hinges on sort of the desperation of these guys who are basically just, you know, eliminating their future life in order to get some gold in their pocket right now. So creating a world that where it made sense. Okay, I get it. These are desperate times, and the notion of, you know, giving this up down the line, which you're a young man, you're not even thinking about,
like
in order
selling your future.
Absolutely, but the idea of doing that so you can party in this club if outside it looks like that right now. It's
a movie about the film industry.
It's futurism for the film industry in 2025. Exactly. It's sad.
I mean, it's also cool. The beginning of that film really opens up. It feels like callbacks to Brick, because immediately you have like your handwriting on the notes. You have like all these attention to details that you put out, and it's nice to see all those elements kind of carry over into it. Like, do you write those notes yourself? Is that your handwriting that we're seeing in the film?
Sometimes, if it's, I think. Yeah, some of the notes, it's mine. And occasionally I'll still get in there. And actually, Wake Up Dead Man, the one I just did, there was like one prop note that like was supposed to be like a guy trying to work out like all these crazy things. And it wasn't quite crazy enough. So I took it and started writing. And then I was like, my handwriting is in every goddamn movie. This is going to get like
another cameo.
It's like Jimmy Stewart's horse and all of those Anthony Mann westerns that Jimmy Stewart did. He had one horse. The horse's name was Pie, and it was Jimmy's horse, and he uses it in every single one of those westerns, and has a very distinct marking on his nose. And once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Right.
And it's like, oh, it's Pie the horse in every one. But I love that. I don't know. I love that.
That's literally your signature in every movie. Then.
Sure.
It's just your handwriting.
Is like is the prop master or set decorator or something, like, is that a position that you work with do you have a collaborator that you work with a lot there, or is it kind of like whoever's local?
No, that I haven't had. I mean, I've worked with some amazing prop guys, and I've had fantastic experiences with all of them. I've never had somebody that I've just like stuck with all the way through. Not because I was unhappy with them, just because those guys tend to be busy and filled the good ones especially, and also because I've shot all over. We were in Eastern Europe. We were in New Orleans for Looper. We were in England for Star Wars. It's also a little bit of finding somebody who's more local,
because they have to like source things locally. It's just easier to
they
find
do
someone.
I mean, but for example, like set deck, like David Schlesinger, who was our set deck on Knives Out, the look of that, I mean, because David Crank was our production designer, he did a great job, but I always would call out Schlesinger because he, in the mansion in Knives Out, 90% of the look of everything is what he filled it up with in terms of all those crazy, and he like research. He went out into like, because we were shooting just outside of Boston, so he looked through all of New England for crazy collectors and dudes who made automatons and people.
Plenty of those guys.
Yeah, he would like, and so and he filled that mansion up. So
Can you talk about like the throne in that one, or the box in Glass Onion? Like, what is it like to translate? Like, do you have that in your head? It needs to look like this, and you give it to them to kind of figure it out, or is it more like, I trust you to come up with something that's cool, and now I'm going to step away?
So oftentimes I have like specific purpose-driven stuff. Like the box in Glass Onion is an example. Yeah. Like, and I did have kind of a fairly specific idea of how I wanted that to lay out, how I wanted it to kind of work. In terms of the specific design, I try not to micromanage, but sometimes you kind of end up getting into a design with it because it needs to serve a specific purpose. There's another one in Wake Up Dead Man, which is kind of the cloche, like the domed, like jeweled box that has the plastic Jesus in it. That I got really specific with. I actually worked, before we even had our prop guy hired, I worked with my cousin Zach, who's an artist, and worked up a sketch of that and had that in the script, actually. Oh, cool. Just because it was so specific in my head. So
how come you always end up smashing the...
Because it's fun. Because it's fun. It's so much fun.
We're going to build this thing to a very specific detail, and then we're going to break it.
I mean, in Glass Onion.
Yeah, Janelle Monáe is just like, takes a hammer to...
Okay, but also like all those glass things that they smash at the end of Glass Onion. So if you can imagine, like we shot whatever, like 60% of the movie is in that like space. And this is at the end of the shoot that we did that scene. At that point, we're all so sick of the space, and also we've been tiptoeing around all these glass things on pillars the whole thing, and so it was cathartic. It was kind of like we get to smash it up.
This is the rap party.
This is the rap party. It was, yeah. Everyone was calling what they wanted to smash. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
are there any other crew members that you find yourself working with a lot, like as a director? Like I think you mentioned that you spend a lot of time like with the dolly grip usually on a set, and what's that relationship like with them when you're on set?
Yeah, so I don't use a lot of Steadicam. I think because at the beginning I couldn't afford it, but also Steve and I, we prefer the look of a dolly move. And even when we do use Steadicam for logistic reasons, we always work with the operator to try and get the floatiness out of it and try and get it to feel like a very point A to point B dolly type move. So I end up, and I don't have for similar reasons with, just that we end up trying to hire kind of locally, and also sometimes it just, with the grip crew, with the camera crew, they end up coming with it. I don't have someone I've consistently worked with, but I've worked with some great dolly grips, and that ends up kind of like being my guy during the shoot. It's between him and the operator, that's the unit that I'm really interfacing with. And a good dolly grip, I feel like audiences don't really like appreciate the work that like a good dolly grip is a dancer. A good dolly grip has music in them. Gary Himes, who was our dolly grip on Star Wars, he had like musical notes embossed in all his equipment. He was like Gary Musical Hines, and he was like, and he was a musician actually. But the best ones have like a poetry to the way they move. I really learned this on Looper. Our dolly grip was fantastic, and then we had a softball game against another crew like 3/4 of the way through the shoot.
Okay.
Or was it softball or soccer? Maybe it was a soccer game.
Very different sports.
Yeah, very different sports.
Yeah.
It had a ball.
Okay.
Film crew versus film crew is awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome until my dolly grip twisted his ankle and was out for the rest of the shoot.
No.
And we got a local guy in who, lovely dude, but I was like, at that point, I was like, no more sports. No more. It was like, yeah. But
it's funny. There's like certain moments that we hear from people that are like turning points in their career, and I can see somebody like the director coming up to the dolly grip and be like, "You're not him." Like that's the turning point. He's like, "Okay, I got to get better."
Did you guys say that you knew some of the crew who worked on Knives Out?
So I'm a Boston local, so I know a lot of the people that were up there. So Dean, who was I think your first AC, was actually one of the people that mentored Annie, who's the first episode that you saw, which is really funny.
Did you know Billy
Weberg or
Pearson?
I don't.
Maybe we brought him in separately. He was working. He was our dolly grip on Knives Out.
Okay.
And yeah.
Nice. Yeah. It's a good crew. I like it up in Boston. Dean's the one that kind of told me about like your different camera position heights, and then he actually said you took one of his tiny slates.
It's my favorite slate. I still have it. I still have it in my bag. I keep it, and every time it would come out, I was like, it's my favorite slate. And at the end of it, he gave it to me. It was really sweet. Yeah.
Do you have other like things that you've taken from sets or?
I mean, you always get a slate. Yeah, you always swipe some stuff. Yeah. Sticky Fingers Johnson. Always swiping.
But I mean, if it's your movie, then like you get a little.
Yeah, who's gonna say it?
That's right. You know what? You're right. Yeah.
That'll hold up in court.
Right. Exactly.
Always. Yeah. Yeah, it depends on the movie, but you always grab a few things. Yeah,
that's cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, but that was really special. That tiny little slate. I still got that with me.
That's great.
It's a good keychain. But yeah, between that and the operator, and on Knives Out and Glass Onion and Looper and Poker Face, our operator Dale Myrand, who passed away a few years ago. And this was actually the first movie that we did without Dale, and it was a real vacuum in the center. I mean, we had fantastic operators, but nothing in that regard. But Dale had just been like a family member, and just he was kind of he was the campfire of the set. Just like his cart, everybody would just gather around it, and. Yeah, he was a really special human being. So
There's like a shorthand you develop when you work with these people too. It's like, I know you directed a couple episodes of Poker Face. Did Steve also DP your episodes, or was that your opportunity to work with a new crew?
Steve shot a few of them, and then one of them, Christine Ng, who was we had 2 DPs. One of them was Jaron, who I mentioned before, and then Christine. And I was really happy in season 1. I got to work with Christine on one of them, and she killed it. She was amazing.
Do you notice things though that you have to like explain a little bit more to kind of get what you're thinking across now that you're working with a new person, or no?
Not. I mean, is it weird to say not really? I mean, it's
no.
I don't think so. No. I mean, if they're a good DP, they kind of are a good DP, and they click into. And I don't know. Also, just Christine was awesome. So.
I could just see you laying on the floor and them going, "Why is Ryan?"
He only has 3 heights.
Is that weird? Is that strange? I don't know.
Did he fall? Why did it fall down?
He's got this tiny slate, and he's just like.
If she was confused, she covered it. Yeah, very quickly. But no, I've mostly in TV getting to work with like a few different DPs, like Michael Slovis in Breaking Bad and his whole crew was fantastic. I don't know. I kind of just blunder in and work the way I work, and the DPs I've worked with have been wonderful and have kind of adjusted to it, I guess. Yeah.
Do you like the faster pace of TV? Like you only have 10 days to get it.
I love it so much.
Brings you back to like lower budget stuff a little bit.
It takes away the preciousness. It also it forces you. I mean, I always do anyway, but it forces you to prep. It forces you not only to prep and to come in with a real game plan. It forces you to be so focused in terms of just the needs of the story when you're on set. It carves away all preciousness, and it's just got to make this moment work. Got to tell the story, and what's the most down and dirty way. I love the pace of TV.
Nice.
Yeah, I love having more time too.
Right,
but I love the pace of TV. What do you get? I mean, for you guys, like in terms of features versus TV, like what's your experience, and what do you think?
I would do features.
So would I. Yeah. Let's be clear here.
For me, I just like a longer form, and TV when you have multiple cameras and stuff like that. It's different feeling to me. So
I guess it can be.
But I guess if you did a single cam show, it'd be more like a movie.
I mean, I guess I kind of because Poker Face, my show, it was kind of it was a bit just like making a low budget movie. I guess I didn't approach it in a way that felt very different from. It wasn't just like a multi-camera getting coverage or something. We like most one camera stuff, we shot it kind of similar to how I shoot a feature, I guess. But I agree with you though. I mean, fundamentally. I fled back to features.
The biggest thing that I've always noticed, and I feel like it almost comes down to like the AD and how they plan the schedule out. But if you're doing like the cross shooting that happens in a lot of TV shows, you compromise a lot on the lighting. So it's like, because that light is now in that shot or something, so it's like stacking cameras, you kind of get away with a little bit more than that. Like if you're shooting a wider and a tight, but then as soon as you start doing the cross coverage, you're like, okay, well, there's 5 lights we can't put in the shot anymore.
I mean, Steve and I feel like we've slowly learned how to use like a second and sometimes a third camera on our features. And for us, I mean, but it always works from kind of, we have kind of like our A cam, and we get the shot that we want to get, and then it's always, if there's something additive that we can figure out a place for the second camera, we're never going to compromise, that hero angle for it. But I feel like we have gotten better at, and especially with these, with Knives Out and these mystery movies, because it's like 8 actors sitting around talking, and you learn in the edit really quickly those scenes are built out of reaction shots. And so at some point you do have to just do the grind where you go around and get singles of everyone. And we have crazy stuff where we have like, it's like a space this big or smaller, and we have 3 cameras on top of each other getting like singles of everyone. And then because of the eye lines, they're inevitably looking at like a piece of tape on the operator's shoulder or something. And like, Yeah.
I mean, your director's monitor must be crazy for those. Just like 9 cameras on
It's
one
wild.
monitor.
It's so crazy. Yeah. We're not like Ridley Scott. We don't do like 10 cam, but 3 is like we max out at 3 typically. Yeah.
Is this like a new process? Because a lot of your movies were shot on film before.
Yeah.
Transitioning to digital, is that where you started adding?
Well, no, not really. I mean, it was, but I don't think it had to do with film versus digital. I mean, so in The Last Jedi, we shot it about, it was going to be 50-50, ended up being about 60-40 digital to film. Are you one ahead?
No.
Speed up. Just speed up.
It's not a contest, but
I'm
if it was,
never
Bert
be able to
would
show
do
my
it.
face on the crew
Well, no,
again.
you leave it to the grip. That's the problem.
What was this movie you were talking about? What was the first movie that this,
Which one? The what's with
Well, I
the
was saying like
You said The Last
transitioning.
Jedi.
Last Jedi. Yeah.
That was like where you introduced digital, or
It was. So we shot largely for technical reasons. Like there was a set that Snoke's throne room that was all just like vibrant red curtains.
That
And
one's
literally
crazy.
just talking about
Yeah.
this.
yeah, and because of how film reacts to red, we were having issues, and so we were like, okay, we'll shoot that sequence on digital. And then there were other things where it's just like, okay, we had actually. We built more sets on that movie than we had shooting days. That's how many sets there were.
That's nuts.
And there were very few moments where we had extensive green screen. It was mostly like practical sets. But the few days where we did, it's like, okay, we shoot digital for that. And then slowly I was looking at the dailies and I couldn't tell the film, the digital apart. And so slowly we started edging more toward, and Steve is a big digital guy.
His color space stuff that he talked, it's insane.
Dude,
I can't.
I read his website and I understand 60% of it. I love it, but I'm like, oh my god.
You're ahead of me. Smile and nod is Steve. That's my trick. As I tell everyone, smile and nod. Smile and nod.
Can I ask? This might be a weird question, but like, I feel like, especially since the TV shows for the Star Wars universe have started to come out, like everyone wants to be involved. So you wrote with George Lucas as the writing credit for.
Well, that's because he
just
originated
because the whole world.
I didn't work with him.
But
on
so
it.
it's like you wrote that. Is that how you got the opportunity to that movie? Did they just have like a bunch of people pitch their script, or did they approach you for it and that's how it got it?
They approached me for it, and then I wrote it, and they. Okay. Yeah, it was the craziest meeting I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
I thought it was just a general meeting. Just with
it's
Kathy.
you calling us.
Yeah, it's Kathy.
Yeah.
It's exactly like that. In fact, that's actually why I'm here today. It was. I thought it was going in just for, and I had met Kathy Kennedy a few times, and we really liked each other. But just like general, meetings, I thought this was another one of those. Mm-hmm. And they shut the door behind me, and it was Kathy and Carrie Hart and Rain Roberts, and they said no one knows this yet, but JJ's decided to not do 8, and we're asking if we want to see what your interest would be in doing that. That's
awesome.
And so it was basically hiring me, and only then I read the script for 7, and I started coming up with what 8 would be. Okay. Yeah, it was wild.
Did having like the background lore of like the entire universe change your writing process?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, because I mean, first of all, it definitely didn't feel like a burden having the background lore of it. Also, because the background lore, I mean, they did a thing when they started the new trilogy where they basically took out the extended universe. So it's not like there were a billion books to read. I was really working. That meant for me, I could kind of relax a little and just work off of my knowledge as a lifetime Star Wars fan of knowing the movies backwards and forwards and loving them and kind of having that in my bones. Yeah. So it's a little bit of what you said of like you're working from lore. It's also, though, that lore is so deep inside you and you know it so well, it's kind of second nature. Okay. And the reality is, I think even when you're writing something quote unquote original, I don't know, it's very quickly you have to define kind of what the box is. Well, you have to define your own lore basically and stick to that anyway. So this just, I don't know, it felt very natural. It didn't feel like restrictive at all, you know? Yeah.
How cool was it to see your words scrolling though?
It was so insane. Writing, I mean, I would be like writing in, I write in Fade In, this just screenwriting program, and just the fact that in my character list that I would type in, it would autocomplete with Luke Skywalker in the dialogue. I was like freaking out. Like, it was crazy, man. Yeah.
That's awesome.
The whole process was like, I mean, every single element of it was like the best experience of my life. It was just, it was the dream. It was really, really, really the dream. And also the crew that we worked with, I mean, the departments, the creature department, Neil Scanlon.
Yeah, you have some cool ones in yours.
Oh my God. It was really like, yeah, the practical creature department, and just seeing those artists work. Neil Scanlon, who was the head of it, and his whole crew. I mean, we recreated the Yoda puppet for it. You know, he literally found like rotting in a box. The
Of course, it's like all stuck to it.
It totally was. He's like, I found it. I'm like, you're kidding. And he opens it up. And it looked like the creature from Eraserhead. It looked like it was kind of this oily, sunken in, like, but I was like, great. So you know what to do with this. But they used that and kind of reconstructed the original puppet, and then it's Frank Oz showing up and actually doing it and getting to know and become friends with Frank, and like, but every single element of everything was like that, and also like every single person in every department was so psyched to be doing what they were doing on that movie. It was magical, man. It was just kind of what you dream about.
That's cool.
You want to make movies.
I'm sorry. I'm curious because you brought up writing process. I'm curious. So since you're working on this material that exists based on films that are out there, the background lore, working on Breaking Bad, did you work with a team of writers, or did you also have any involvement with the writing for those episodes?
I had no involvement at all with the writing.
Is that the first time you were directing something that you hadn't written?
I had directed one episode. My buddy Ted Griffin had a terrific show that just went for one season called Terriers. And I directed one episode of that Leslie Headland actually wrote, who ended up working in Star Wars. She created that show, The Acolyte. So
cool.
That's where I first met Leslie. But I had done one episode before, and then Breaking Bad was kind of the next thing I did where I didn't write. Yeah. And I honestly loved it so much.
Yeah.
It's kind of just getting to do the fun part. Fuck you.
Thank you, Chase.
Flying in.
Yeah, I'll take one.
Bert, you good? Still?
I'm good right now.
Yeah, he's one ahead.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, we heard the
Quiet little pop. Yeah, you should have coughed over it.
The bringing different people into different worlds and like seeing them work. Like I think that everybody kind of knows that Joseph Gordon-Levitt is in like at least a voice in all of your movies.
Everything,
but Noah, I don't know how to say his
Noah
name.
Segan.
Segan. So I feel like he's even more in every single one of your movies. Like, at what point does Benoit Blanc realize that they're like these evil triplets?
Well, now it's going to be in the next movie.
Well, like I feel like Nikolai's gonna die, and then like Daryl's like, oh no, I gotta get off the island.
Well,
like
Noah has an operating theory that it's all the same guy, and he's just on a real journey in life. Detective Elliot,
like Benoit Blanc, like interacts with him. It's not like he's just a background character. Like he's too smart to not realize that they're like the.
I don't know. Blanc meets a lot of people in this. It's kind of like,
I mean, but that's also cool that I feel like you're able to still work with people from your early days as well. Like, is that really important to you to like keep someone like him in your cast, or is it just something that happens naturally throughout the process of making your films?
It's really important, and it happens naturally. You know, it's kind of weird. I mean, Noah's one of my best friends. You know, so I'm like seeing him all the time. We're hanging out, and then he's also good buddies with Daniel at this point, and so I want him on set. You know, and also he's a really good actor, and he's really fun. So it's kind of natural, and also it's a priority. You know?
Do you use that, like the friendship, to kind of mess with him a little, because he's the one that shoots himself in the foot, right? Like in Looper, he like shoots himself, and then like is he ever like, come on, can't I just have
Can't
one?
be cool
once?
No. I mean, a little bit, but also I don't know. Yeah, I guess so. I don't want to get myself in trouble with Noah. No, absolutely not. He's just a great actor who can do anything.
it's good to have that kind of. No, I mean it's good to have that kind of. It's almost like a I don't want to call it a security blanket, but I definitely know like walking onto a set where I don't know anybody, and then walking onto a set where I know like at least like when the downtime I see these like familiar faces, like I have somebody to bounce off of. Like it's
right. It's interesting. Yeah, I mean there is a comfort level on my sets. There tend to be. I don't know. I have that kind of baked in. I've never not experienced that. I mean, even the central position of Steve, you know, for me, kind of the person that I'm interacting with the most, the DP, Steve.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that, you know, we're so tight, there's always going to be that hub. But then also my producer, Ram, who who I've been working with since Brick, he's the reason I'm still making movies.
How did you guys find each other?
So when I was trying to get Brick made, I met him towards the end of that time. So I had worked with a few different independent producers. It had never quite clicked. And then it's just kind of that shotgun thing. If somebody had read the script, you passed it to someone else who passed it to Ram. And I sat down and met with him a few times. He didn't actually find the money for the movie. We actually, you know, we ended up just kind of going to friends and family for the money. We made it for like, every time Ram tells the story, the number gets lower, but we made it for like 350 grand or so. You know?
What's the number you guys kept saying yesterday? Every movie's made for 2,500.
It's a quote from Bowfinger. Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of, I mean, once you get it all, it's true. The other thing is, I'm also, just to say it, I'm also like, I don't know, like you want to, when you're doing like low budget stuff that's that low budget, you want to make sure everyone has a good experience on it. And but I never want to romanticize the notion of doing stuff for no money, because you guys know it just it's easy to do stuff for no money, but you just don't pay people.
I mean, reality of it. In that documentary of the making of Brick, you said that it's like the only reason you're getting this is because people are basically working for way less than they
deserve. Absolutely, 100%. So I think the romance of that you're somehow kind of taking it on your back and making some magical thing happen, I always want to dispel that. The reality is it's people who are showing up and working for less than they could be getting, and part of your job, that means, is to make sure they're getting something out of the experience that is going to be worth it for them to be there. So but yeah, so I met Ram at that kind of, I guess it was like a year before. It was kind of like, I don't know, it's that thing of kind of you kind of fail forever, and then it's luck and preparation kind of coming together at the exact same time, I think. Yeah.
That's cool.
But Ram is, I mean that, because Brothers Bloom, it wasn't a huge budget, but it was like 17 million or so, and nobody saw it. It was, I should have been in director's jail, and Ram was the one who figured out how to get Looper going, along with Jim Stern at Endgame, who had financed Brothers Bloom, and took a role on Looper, like, give it a shot. So
what did you have to do to get out of directors?
Make Looper.
Make Looper, basically. But the reason we were able to get Looper made is Bruce Willis. It was a sci-fi movie, and you got Bruce Willis with a gun on the poster. And we put it together. We didn't have a studio when we started. Sony ended up releasing it, but TriStar, Sony-ish.
But they're all the same.
It's all one kind. It's mega Unicorp. But we financed it through that model of getting a star attached, pre-selling the foreign, and then finding a distributor, basically. And so it was Bruce. That was the whole reason we got that movie made.
You did some like animatics and stuff for that movie. Did you have to do that to basically
the previs?
The previs thing, I that was a useful tool, and that helped definitely, especially because the script was so complicated. And so making something, and I have it, I think it's also on my Vimeo channel if anyone wants to check it out. I just use clips from other movies and some drawings that my cousin Zach had done, and put together essentially a trailer for it, just to have like a little, I promise this will be cool kind of
I promise I know what I'm doing.
I guess so.
I mean, do you think that's a good thing? Like, I mean, maybe you don't have to do that now, but like from a director who's like coming into something, do you think it's good to have like some visualization element that goes with your script, just so that?
I guess it can be. I mean, it's always it's funny with Brick. We always because Steve and I were just kind of like banging our heads against the wall of how do we get this thing made for so long, and we debated making like shooting a trailer for it or something. I mean, the tough thing is I mean, I guess the hard thing is first of all that that then takes resources and money, that then also takes energy, and then if you're shooting a trailer you're probably not going to have the actors you'll have for the eventual thing, so that'll be not really representing what you can. In a way, it's almost like it's almost the thing but not the thing. So
and then you're giving people this like vision of what it is, and it's not
yeah,
exactly
but you don't really have the resources you'll have to make it. So it never quite made sense to us to, because I know a lot of people have done that thing of like shooting a fake trailer for it. This is the closest that I did for it is the Looper thing. It was almost more so that I kind of just did it on my own. It's not like they were like Rom was like, we need something like this, but it was a little bit like, this will be a sellable movie kind of, you know, there's a trailer vision for it.
Did your process change? Like, so the first 3 movies you made and then sold.
Yeah.
Then Star Wars obviously has a studio behind it. Was Knives Out sold before you made it, or like does having a studio back you from the beginning change your process? Or
well, so Knives Out was it was Lionsgate, and we basically were soft prepping it all the way up until right before we started shooting, and then Lionsgate came on as the distributor. We were working with this company MRC who does financing. So so no, it's kind of similar. And then with Netflix, we had the deal for these 2 movies before we went in. The reality is, though, even with I don't know, I've always it hasn't really changed the process at all. Though I feel like I've been really lucky that I've been able to operate in these little bubbles where it's not like I've ever had a studio breathing down my neck. I've always kind of had good, even with Star Wars, kind of especially with Star Wars. I think Kathy Kennedy really actually kind of like protected us. Yeah, absolutely. And so
is there like a I don't know, like is there an amount of stuff that you shot hoping that it was going to make in, and then the studio ever removed any of that just to fit a storyline or anything?
No,
or
I have never had to change a frame based on anything from the studio. I'll listen to their ideas. I'll get their notes. I'll collaborate with them.
The smile and nod thing?
Well, no, but so no, I'll say this though, because I do think this is important. Like I think that it's a part of that, and this is something I kind of learned from Rom, but I think it's really important, is coming into that relationship with the studio, the distributor, the producer, whoever it is, coming into it, if you come in with any kind of adversarial kind of fist up type thing, that sets the tone.
They'll
for
meet
that.
you.
Yeah, that sets the tone. So what I always genuinely try to do is to come in setting the tone of, we're all making this together, open up your arms, we're all trying to make the best movie here. And also the fact that I always write my scripts on spec, and it's never like I pitch something, get hired, and then write it for them.
Right.
I always write the script on spec so that we're talking about the script. We're talking about the movie we're going to make. We're not talking about the disconnect between an idea I pitched and the script I delivered.
Okay.
So that means I can come in and say, I'm happy you guys want to make the script. We all love it. We're going to let's move forward together and make all the, and just work towards making it.
Yeah. But so everything's on the table from the beginning when they're like they already know the idea of the whole story, not just like the log line.
100%. Yeah.
That's cool.
It's always starting from that place, and always starting from a place of we're all in this together, making this together. And that then starts it out on a foundation of trust. And so because of that, I've kind of never been messed with. But that also means I'll never shut them out. I'll never I'll always listen to ideas. And sometimes the ideas are good and I'll use them, and that just makes me look better.
Nice. Yeah. Whose idea was it to have a character that vomits when they lie?
That was me. Somebody said, I've heard.
Is that a real thing?
I think it is. I've had somebody I signed a poster recently for someone who was like, actually, my kid was dealing with that issue, and watching this movie kind of was good for them. Yeah. So I think it might actually be a real thing. But
that's a horrible
Yeah.
It's awful.
Disease.
I lied too much for that to happen.
I was gonna say, you'd just be, it'd be like the scene in Team America. Just spouting.
Oh, God.
Constant spouting.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
Is there a specific lesson or something that you started to do differently after you were in director's jail because of Brothers Bloom going into Looper that you feel like you do now? Kind of, is it something you do to like maybe self-regulate your writing, or because you said you wrote Brothers Bloom as like a globe-trotting film, you had all these ideas, but then maybe did it mean you had to kind of scale back a little bit in your process or anything like that?
Yeah.
Let me tell you. Let's tell you about scale. Yes, but not in terms of like scaling back. I think the big thing in coming into Looper was after, because Brothers Bloom, like I said, it has very much kind of like, and I'm so proud of that movie and the experience I had making it. And also, I feel like people who do really connect with that movie, when they come up to me to talk about it, it's almost like the deepest, next to Star Wars, it's like the people who connect with it really connect with it. I'm very proud of it. I don't want to sound like I'm talking down Brothers Bloom, but it freaked me out because it really didn't connect with audiences when it was released, and because it felt like, boy, I really did something incredibly personal, and it kind of it didn't connect. I guess the big difference with Looper was in the writing, and it was, I'm going to do a hard genre piece. I'm still going to put myself in it. I'm going to make it about something I care about. I'm going to make something that I love, but I'm not going to go easy on myself. I'm going to really tighten the screws on the writing because I don't know if I'll get another chance after this. And so I was brutal with myself in the writing process. And I wrote the whole script, and then I rewrote, and then the second half, like from when we cut to the farm onward, just wasn't working, and so I threw it out and just started over and like rewrote the second. I just would kind of hold my feet to the fire a little bit in terms of the writing and making sure that it really was as tight and kind of effective as it possibly could be, I guess. Which is a good thing. I mean, that's I've kind of tried to carry that forward in the writing. You kind of you kind of learn really quickly. If you let yourself off the hook with writing, if you let something slide, it's not like it goes away. It comes back to you in the edit. Right. And you have to pay the piper at one end or the other, basically.
It's like you're fixing it even before. Like, it's like if it's not working you have to fix it right.
Fixing it before it gets expensive. Exactly. Yeah. Fixing what you said?
Fix it in pre.
Fix in pre. Yeah. That's so great. I'm going to steal that.
There's a great shirt. I forget who makes it, but I bought it from my editor friend.
Vienna Pit.
Yeah. It's just a skeleton at a computer going, fix it in pre.
Yeah. God, that's so good.
That's hanging in my office at the school.
That is fantastic. I love that. Yeah.
I mean, for me, Looper, the ending, I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, that was the best fucking ending. That's how it should have ended.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know how it was going to end. You leave it really up in the air until that last like line of dialogue.
I mean, it takes a lot of guts to write that, to be like, I'm ending the story here with this, like there's a finality to it. Like my main character's gone. Like that's the way it ends,
That's how I want. But the thing is, it's like, I don't know. I love endings. And that's also, we talk about TV versus movies. That's why I love movies. I love it. I love endings. It's all about ending for me. And
Anthology TV.
What's that?
Anthology TV.
Anthology TV.
That's the middle ground.
Yeah, exactly. Which is kind of what I did when I made a TV show. But like, but no, I love a great ending. Like, I think I still remember, like, as a kid, the ending of E.T. in the theater and just feeling like my heart was going to explode, and realizing also, it's also writing wise, it's an interesting thing in terms of the craft, because the ending is all about the beginning. The ending is all about, the ending is, you throw a rock at the beginning, and the arc where that rock lands being your ending is what's going to give you that feeling of you didn't see it coming, but it feels absolutely inevitable. So, I don't know. There's almost an engineering, like building a bridge type.
That's what they say about dolly shots too. They say it's all about the beginning and the end.
Beginning and the end. It totally is. It's landing that glide into the.
That's all that people remember. They remember how you started and how you ended.
How you ended. Yeah.
You might be a dolly grip, right?
I would love to. I've tried a few times. I'm shit at it. I'm really, really bad. I also one time on Star Wars they put the Steadicam on me.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and not to operate, just literally to try.
just so
it
you
out.
can see. This is what you're making me do, kind of thing.
And so I put it on, and I'm just like, oh, this isn't so bad. And then I noticed after 30 seconds, sweat was pouring down my face.
Yeah,
it's like this is a medieval torture device.
Yeah,
I have no idea what this is even
yeah.
doing to my body.
Kind of
yeah.
is.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Let's talk about your new movie because we haven't talked about that at all.
Wake Up Dead Man.
Wake Up.
So
Dead
you guys
Man.
saw it? You went to
Yeah,
see it?
yeah,
we saw it at the
Paris.
we saw it at the Paris.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's rad. I'm so
Yeah,
glad you guys
thank
got
you
to
for
see
getting
it.
us
Yeah.
tickets. to see
That
it.
was a lot of fun.
I'm glad you got to see it.
That first scene with Josh Brolin, like, you know, when we just get to the church and then
Yeah.
we do confessional outside and we're talking about masturbating.
All right, so the woman who was like the pastor at that church, at that location, because she was awesome, she was rad, but we had also kind of like, she had said, just to make sure there's nothing disrespectful in this. We go, no, it's totally respectful. And then day one, we were shooting that with that scene, and then I looked over my shoulder, and she was standing right behind me. We were shooting, like, sorry,
like committed now, like take two. Like,
She was cool. She was totally cool. She was fine. Yeah.
And
she
that was shot in the UK.
Yeah, we shot that in London.
Okay.
Yeah,
because I love. There's a line that you've got in there that's talking about like, oh, the Gothic architecture, and they're like, nah, this is New Age. This is in New York. This is some just done. And it's like, I love that it's like this is actually probably a very old church.
Yeah.
It's not.
well, that was a set. So the interior was a set.
Okay.
That was the best set I've ever been on.
That's a
in
really
my
good
life.
set.
Oh
Yeah.
my god! So Rick Heinrich, who's our production designer, we worked with him on Star Wars and on Glass Onion. He came up with Tim Burton.
Okay.
He was kind of, he and Tim Burton came up together, and so Rick is amazing at creating beautiful, like, emotional connections through scale, and so that set was just absolutely
Huge.
gorgeous. Yeah, it was massive. Yeah,
I'm gonna call it a flair for the dramatic, which
Yeah.
kind of goes along with the whole genre as a
Yeah.
whole. But like in Glass Onion and in Wake Up Dead Man, you've got these very significant lighting cues.
yeah.
Mhm.
So like in Glass Onion, the lights go out at 10 p.m. and then you've just got like the lighthouse that
Yeah.
spins around, and then every single time they come into the church, the
Yeah.
doors open.
Yep.
And it's like this is. Are
and you also have this like sun setting
Yeah.
into shots.
Yeah,
Is that in your script, or is that like you made it to the location and you're like, I
Yeah.
think we can do something cool?
So it's not it. I don't think maybe it's in the script, but that was the first conversation I had with Steve, and so I wanted to, because I was a kid in Colorado where the clouds move very fast, and the thing of like you're in a room and it's bright and beautiful and sunlit, and then like that, it's like God turns out the lights and
And the whole mood changes. It's
the whole
so-
emotional tenor of the
Yeah.
mood and it's something you feel all the time in real life and you rarely see in
Yeah.
movies. And so that was the first conversation I had with Steve, is
So
I want to
cool.
get really theatrical with this. And so so he worked with Dave Smith, who was our gaffer on it, and they not only like pre-rigged all the lights and everything, and we had to kind of, because we didn't have enough room on the stage, we had to choose a dominant side for the sun.
Oh, okay.
But Steve also did a lot of work figuring out his own light control system. And so he had it all rigged, as opposed to a fader board. He had it all rigged to kind of like a node-based thing on his laptop, so that on the day we could essentially play the cues like music and be very organic about, okay, this happens here, and then the timing of this. And he was just cueing it based on, it was almost like he was playing music. And so, yeah, my favorite thing in the world is when friends see the movie and say, "Oh, that must have been magical when you got lucky and the sun just came out." Like,
You're like, it's all fake.
they're like, "Yeah, no," I say, "Yes, you're right. It was absolutely, that was magic." It was
It's on
great.
it's like on a perfect line too, because it's
Yeah,
like, you know,
yeah.
Daniel Craig's delivering this whole thing, and then he's like, it's almost like Columbo. He turns around, he's like, and another thing.
Very Columbo.
Very Columbo. It all comes back to Columbo. Yeah, yeah. That church was amazing. I was telling you before. I have a Shitty Rigs thing that, like, do you remember? So in the and I got, all right, and I'll send you just like the pictures, because on set I was like, I'm gonna send this to Shitty Rigs. I was taking a picture. So the whole flashback sequence where the character Grace like tears the church apart.
Yeah,
So it's not a big spoiler. So you know, kind of like the colored, kind of like weird stained glass kind of effect in that.
You're like shooting through that at certain points.
We're shooting through, yeah. So that's how we did it. We had like these. I I forget what department it was that we eventually did the math and figured out what department should do it. But it had like cut perspex of like colored plastic, and it was like different shapes and everything. And we basically on set, it was amazing because we would just, we would line up the shot, and then I would just like put the perspex against the thing and watch the monitor and slide it in until it felt just right. And I would say there, and then the camera guys would come in with gaffer tape and just tape it to the matte box.
Nice.
And so when we were shooting, it looked insane because it was just like messy tape holding like 4 pieces of like plastic perspex that are like shaped like squiggly lines all over the lens. It was absolutely nuts. But it created like a really cool effect. It was fun.
I feel like I heard a different interview where you said that you wish you got to do one of those old like painting.
So
is this your version
this
of that?
is a little bit, but I would still love to do for The Last Jedi. I was like, I want to do one glass mat shot. And the reality is there isn't the
There's
expertise.
like one guy in the world.
There is, and it's just we've gotten to the point where, because to actually do it right, you got to have the shot lined up, you got the location, you got to go out, you got to wedge it, you got to like figure out, there's so much work that went into those shots. It just makes you appreciate it. And when you go in the archive up at Lucasfilm, up at Skywalker, they basically have because they used glass shower doors to do those big glass mats. And they'll pull them out, and it's incredible. It's like Jabba's palace, like
wow.
Or like my favorite one. It's like a whole glass door, and there's one thing this big, and it's the Jawa's sand crawler. It's like, it's for the wide shot where it's a tiny thing on the hill.
That's
so good, man. Yeah, but I wanted to do that for Last Jedi, but best laid plans. Yeah,
your shot in Wake Up Dead Man, like how you're talking about that, that reminds me, we got a shitty rig once. It's Steven Spielberg.
Oh yeah,
E.T.
What was it?
It's literally like inside when the alien's covered in the ghost.
When he's on the little basket on the
I
bike.
saw that.
It's
oh my
just
god,
like
I saw that. Yeah,
a piece of cloth with 2 holes in it, and you see his face when he's looking through the camera, and he's like,
in Brick, we had, because there's a shot where he's supposed to be kind of like coming in and out of consciousness. He's looking up at the ceiling fan.
Oh yeah.
And in the script it said first the fan's spinning and then the room is spinning. And so we got basically a lazy Susan, like a kitchen lazy Susan, and stuck the camera on it. And then we had to, because there was nothing remote, we had to like wrap the cord around it like a dozen times. And it was this amazing thing where we were watching the monitor and trying to spin it at exactly the right speed. And then we would get it right there. And then we got like 4 seconds of it, like to match up with the fan that we were shooting.
Yeah.
And then it was, that was.
And you're also shooting film. So you're
shooting film, man. Yeah. So you don't even know. Yeah. Back in the day.
Was there another shitty rig? I know there's that effect in Brick where you have the shot in the tunnel and then there's like the garbage bag, and I think you shot that in reverse.
Shot in reverse, yeah. Yeah, I was watching. I mean, I was a big Sam Raimi fan. And so
shaky cam,
and The Evil Dead. But a lot of the stuff that he did, I mean, I was really into and a lot of the shorts that I made were kind of like doing things like that. But yeah, that was it. It was a combination of that and we actually just like used plastic trash bags and like did reverse shots where we like pulled it out to like create this weird David Lynch like dream-like thing.
Was that something you found on set? Was that like, or was that
no? That was all planned. Yeah, okay. That was all planned. Yeah, because you had to be really precise, and also nobody on set understood what the fuck we were doing with these. I was like, no, trust me, pull it off. And it's gonna, yeah. So because I knew how I was gonna cut it together. So no, that had to be all planned out.
Do you think like, I know you're not editing anymore, but do you think like being able to edit and having that sort of mindset of being an editor helps you as a director?
I can't imagine directing without it. I can't imagine having the guts to like, not having the guts like how dare you, but like I would be terrified if I were on set and didn't know how to edit, didn't know how editing worked. Just in terms of like knowing what you actually need, knowing coverage wise when you've got it, knowing how you could cheat something if you didn't get something. I feel like I don't know. Any like young, people going to film school or whatever, even if you don't want to be an editor, just when you're starting out making your own stuff, cut your own stuff, and just learn your way, get comfortable with it, demystify that part of the process for yourself. I think that's really, really important. Or at least I find it to be. And especially when you're going to be making your first feature and you're going to have a low budget and not too many days to do it, understanding what you actually are going to need in the edit, like on a fundamental level, that's like that's the way you make your days. That's your biggest friend, I think.
Yeah, it allows you to kind of make hard choices on set because you're like, okay, I don't have time to do this really dynamic shot that I need, but what's the visual information that I need to complete the scene? Like, how do we get there?
Or if you get in trouble, or also you get on set if you have, you're not getting a performance that you want, or you're like, or a day player is not, and you just
the dolly grip's not the same dolly grip.
It's not the same dolly grip. Somebody's played some kind of weird bass game. I think it's I don't know, it's a tool set that I can't imagine being without. Yeah, but I know, I mean, there's directors who don't have that, and it's great. There's a million ways to do it.
No, but I think that's like, it comes down to like, there's a different perception, right? There's a lot of people that are like, pick one lane and just go with it. And then there's some people who are like, kind of learn a little bit of everything so that you kind of have an understanding of what you're asking for too. And the limitations. So
I'm curious, I want to ask you guys, what's your experience of like a director on a set? Like typically, like what is like, how does it affect or not the work that you're doing,
I mean, if we just want to go between like the difference between TV and film again, like I've personally seen a director come into a TV show and I've heard an actor like, I've been here for 7 seasons. What are you possibly contributing to my character?
Really?
I've seen that kind of thing change where it's like, I'm learning a lot about authorship right now.
Yeah.
And it's something along the lines of like, I think with movies, a lot of people say that the director is the author. They whether they wrote it or not, they are the guiding light to like direct the vision down the line. But I think in TV shows, a lot of people point that towards the showrunner.
Sure.
So it's like it's just a little bit different of a role that's kind of bringing everything together. And because the director's not there, or if they haven't seen every single episode or whatever, like there are definitely certain ones that are like, you can, not that you can't feel the voice, but it's what can you bring in 10 days that this person who's been here for 400 days doesn't already know. So it's like, I don't know if that means it takes a stronger voice to actually put themselves in there.
Yeah.
But I think on a movie, you definitely, especially if you're there every single day, you're like, they know what's up. Yeah, it's so much easier to point to them and be like, okay, like we're doing this because we're supporting their vision, or it's like it's.
Can I tell you my experience with that? Because that's kind of what I expected showing up on TV. Like I show up on Breaking Bad. It's just only season 3, but it's Bryan Cranston. He like knows his character better than I ever would. My experience was and this really surprised me. That because the fundamental job, in some ways, kind of like the most important job that matters on a set, like when you're directing, I think, is the ability to turn yourself into an audience member between when you call action and when you call cut, to be there watching the performance and have a genuine emotional reaction to it, and then call cut and parse that for yourself. And then go and have a conversation with the actor about that. And because on a well-written show, in every episode, hopefully the character is being pushed into new territory. Right. The actor is never going to not need
something,
that audience.
Yeah.
And somebody who's reacting and so I felt like some of the most intense kind of work I've done with actors was actually on those Breaking Bad episodes, like working with Anna Gunn on that episode, and Ozymandias is like something I'll never forget.
That's cool.
Or working with Brian and Aaron on Fly, it was like so intense, and like, so I expected what you described. And I think maybe on like a network show or something, it's more like something. Maybe that's like,
And I'm saying like, I saw that happen once.
Yeah, I'm sure
that's not like,
I'm sure
it's
that
not the norm.
I'm sure that exists, and it might be the norm, I guess, but it can also, it's a weird thing.
I don't remember if we were watching an old interview with you or there was something along the lines of like, a lot of directing too comes down to casting.
Oh, God.
So if you
Yeah.
weren't the person that cast that, you're maybe that you don't think that that's the right tool, or you would have changed something. So it's there is something to be said about like, you know, you work with these huge ensembles, like you pull these people in, and it's like at a certain point you're like, I can't tell every single one of you what to do every single time, because you know, like you brought them in because you know they're going to bring certain something. And
I'll say this also though. I mean, I feel like this is part of what I enjoyed about working. You know, when I say working in TV, I guess I'm mostly talking about working Breaking Bad. But mostly what I enjoy about working in the best TV show ever made with the best people who have ever done it is I think what I loved about doing it, I never walked into it wanting my voice, quote unquote, to be in it. Like I don't even really know what my voice is in that, you know, in any regard, even with my features, but especially with the TV show. It's not like I'm coming in thinking, how do I make this my own at all? Like the freedom to walk onto a set and the only goal is, here is a great script. How do we get this as powerfully as possible onto the screen? But I feel like that should, I don't know, weirdly, even if I feel like voice is a byproduct of doing that as well as you can. Voice is almost like your natural speaking accent. I mean,
Star Wars is probably a great example of that too. Like they call it Episode 8, you know, so it's like think of it as this piece in a story.
100%, 100%. And you're coming in just trying to make the most powerful Star Wars story. Now that's going to end up being personal to you, as it was with all the previous movies, because it's coming through, you know, your sensibilities. But the notion of I'm going to come in and pee on this to mark it as my territory or something.
That would be an insane... I don't think that person would ever get hired again.
No, well, yeah. And also it would end up feeling, even if it's something that I'm, even with a movie like Looper or like the Knives Out movie, that's like completely my own.
Yeah.
I feel like that would lead to an affected style, I think. You know? Yeah. You always have to just come in thinking, let's tell the story as powerfully as possible.
And I think that goes back to what you were saying, like what all of us have been saying. It's a collaborative effort between everybody. You bring all these people in. It's like even of course you can make a movie by yourself, but it's never by yourself.
Absolutely not. And it's a weird thing also. That's the other thing that in what you said that got me thinking, because the notion of like the director as the author is like the auteur thing. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I kind of, in features specifically, I kind of think that ends up being the case, but because, I don't know, not because everyone else isn't contributing to it, but because I think that even for better or for worse, I feel like the movie ends up being a reflection of the person who directed it. And that if that means that it's an absolute disaster and the person was just not engaged, you are going to feel, because that means lots of craftsmen are stepping in and taking those roles. And then the movie, will affect how the movie feels at the end, I guess, you know. But yeah, I don't know. It's a reluctant auteur theory, I guess. Yeah.
What are the kinds of things when you get an opportunity to talk to another director that you're asking them?
It's a weird thing because that's what's tricky. Is it's nothing that you I think asking wouldn't work, because first of all you'd make it weird.
Yeah.
You kind of are. I'm kind of playing it cool when I talk to my director friends a little bit, because
you're not trying to be like, hey, what do you do?
There's got to be a weird, like there's a director's group chat somewhere that's just like
I mean, but when I hang out with, and also by the way, it's only in the last like 5-10 years that I've started making more director friends. For a long time, most of my friends were mostly writers. And I kind of had to make an effort to start making more director friends. I'm so happy that I did. I have some really good director friends now.
Who's your best bud? Who do you have on text right now?
I've been tight with Edgar for a long time.
That's awesome.
I met him when he was editing Scott Pilgrim, and I think because Focus was working with him, they showed him a cut of Brick, and so we've been tight for a long time.
You got notes on Brick from Edgar Wright?
I didn't get notes. No, they thank God they showed him. They showed him the finished product. But then, do you guys know Karen Kusama, the director? She did Girl Fight. She did Jennifer's Body. She did
Jennifer's
Destroyer.
Body.
We know the DP
Destroyer,
who shot Jennifer's body.
Yeah.
And then the chair of the department of the school that I work at was one of the producers on Girl Fight.
Girl Fight.
That's really
yeah.
fun. It's such a small industry.
Yeah.
It's so funny that you can say any movie, and I bet we all know somebody.
It's a fishbowl.
It's so funny.
Yeah. So Karen's one of my good buds, but at this point I have a lot of director friends. So it's but I don't know, when we hang out we don't talk we don't really talk like process. That's why I kind of, what I wish is that I could have a cape of invisibility and hang out on film sets. And it's also kind of, I don't know, again, bringing it back to promoting the podcast. It's kind of what I love about listening to your guys' podcast is like, it's because there's also an element of, even on my own sets, like I'm aware that I'm kind of the camp counselor a little bit. Right. That the tenor of everything changes when I'm like walking to. Is
there like a level though, like where, I don't know, like if you see a new movie, is there like somebody that you always reach out to and be like, you have to go see this, or like, even if it's an older film, like, what do you think about this? Like, what did you pull away?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'll reach out to Karen. I actually, and then I also have just like, director friends who are like Bill Hader is a huge cinephile. Yeah. And I'm always curious to hear like what he thought about different movies. And I'm also slightly nervous to say like, I love this. This was awesome, because I'm a little afraid that if then he's silent for a few days.
There are things this happened last week. I'll say something. Oh, I love that movie, and he goes, that sucked. I'm like, okay, never mind. I guess I was looking at a different movie than you were.
You gotta stand your ground, man. You gotta stand your ground.
But I think that's great in movies. I think like the worst thing a movie can do is just be like,
evoke nothing.
Like I think your movie should like evoke something. It should piss people off, or it should like get them excited.
I happen to agree, man. I think that means that you've actually tried for something.
Yeah.
And it's a weird line, because I think actively trying to like poke the bear and piss people off is going to lead to nothing good. But I feel like that's a natural byproduct of actually trying to, I don't know, kind of focusing inward and actually trying to make something that that comes straight out of you, as opposed to something that's calculated to sort of just slide through the system.
And it's like it's what you were saying with like Brothers Bloom. Like you made something that you wanted to make, and that was your vision.
Yeah.
And if it didn't get the reception at the time, now it still has like this kind of cult following, or you know, it's like it will find its audience eventually, and that's what sticking to your voice leads to.
Well, and also I remember like when I was first working on sets, like as like directing my first movies, I would talk to one of the electricians and who like worked on Coen Brother movies, or worked on like, The Usual Suspects or something. And I was like, so what's the best movie you've ever worked on? And they were like, oh, and they would say, yes, absolutely. George of the Jungle 3. It was sweet. We were in Australia on the Gold Coast, had the best catering, and just like they would throw parties every weekend for the crew.
Tons of cocaine.
But the thing is, I've realized as it's gone on, there's a real truth to that, because the reality is, even for me, like it's not like what I carry on through the rest of my life is like the movie that's on the shelf. I want to make that as good as I can, but what I hold with me is the experience of making it and the people that, There's a great dolly grip story.
Tell it.
Probably apocryphal, but I love this story so much. It's a story of, I forget who told this to me. There was a first-time director who was very, very nervous, and it happened as making his first indie movie, and somehow it got in just a veteran dolly grip who had like worked on like Apocalypse Now, or, and like whatever, The Godfather or whatever, had been around forever, seen it all, done it all. And so at the end of it, like a few takes, the performances would happen and everything, and the director would be like, cut. And then we'd be nervous to say, moving on. And he would look over at the dolly grip. And if the wise old dolly grip went, the director would feel confident and would say, we got it, moving on. And then they shoot the movie. The director gets in the edit, works his ass off in the edit, finally screens the movie, and it's an absolute piece of shit. Performances are awful. story doesn't make sense. Everything is terrible. It's just like, what have I done? And he's like, fuck, that guy just completely lied to me. And he watches it one more time and he realizes every single dolly move is perfect.
That's awesome.
Please let it be true. Print the legend.
It's like forget one more for camera, forget one more for sound, anything like that. It's
Did you try and muffle your beer?
One more for the dolly.
Speaking of one more, you were like trying to
it's better
burying
it's better
deep
than
inside
coughing.
here. You were like using the crotch. Yeah, Jesus.
I told you the grip department teaches you certain things. That's the dolly grip can't break away to do that.
It's true.
I think the biggest like thing that I've realized is different for you is like working below the line, the producer is somehow like the enemy to below the line people.
Absolutely.
And as like a director, the producer is like kind of like your wingman that's like helping you.
Sometimes. But I mean, I think there's a slight element of, I mean, yes and no, because the producer is also the one. Like on Brick, I would get back at the end of the day to my motel room, and there would be a note that had been slid under the door from my producer with the amount of footage that I shot that day, and saying you need to shoot. you went 300 feet. You have to get it less. I mean, the producer is always the one who's presenting physical reality to everyone, whether it's the department heads or also the director. So there's that element as well. I think.
Is that ever a fight? Like, I mean, a fight's the wrong word, but like,
conflict.
Like, where do you choose to stand your ground and say like, well, no, we had to do it because of this, or it's like, I'm assuming like Ram probably understands that at this point. He knows what your process is. But if you get like a new EP or something on the line, are they ever just like, this guy doesn't fucking understand? Like,
well, we've been working with, at this point, also the same team of producers forever. So, but there always does come a thing of, and it never gets to a fight, but there is always a thing of, is this thing that's going to cost X, Y, and Z resources, whether it's money, whether it's time, whether it's sacrificing this for that, is this worth it? And ultimately, that's the other reason that Ram is a really good producer and why we get along so well is ultimately his goal is not to give me what I want, because that could sometimes mean making the wrong decision just because from his perspective, just because I want it. His goal is always to serve the project best, to serve the movie best. And so there are times when he'll push back, and I've learned. And sometimes, even in times where it ends up going my way, and we do end up doing it my way, I've always learned to listen. I've always learned to listen to him in those situations and step away. Even if I'm like, no, it has to be this, to take a walk and step away and really genuinely listen and consider his perspective.
There's something in the credits of Wake Up Dead Man that's like Ram's Flying Badgers.
Oh, Ram's Flying Mules.
What is that?
That's a drug thing. No, it's not. It's not. No, that's so our company T Street. It's the assistants who would, because we were shooting, in England. It's the assistants who would every few weeks fly out, not even for dailies, just for random shit. Okay. Just for like anything that needed to be brought.
I saw it. I don't remember it was special thanks. I'm like,
Ram's Flying Mules.
He looked it up. He was I gotta figure out what this company is.
I was Googling for like an hour. I was like, what is this company? I want to be part of it. So and then on the other end of that, I was going to ask, like, at what point along your career did T Street form?
So that was when we were doing Knives Out, and basically, essentially it was because T Street doesn't. They're a producer on, but the point of it is not to like produce my stuff. The point of it is to find filmmakers who are generally, we worked with kind of filmmakers who are newer voices, whether it's their first or second movie, who have a really interesting point of view and have a strong voice, and also though who want to make, for lack of a better word, commercial movies. That's kind of what Ram and I's whole thing is like, we want to find filmmakers who we think are awesome and interesting and also want to play movies that are going to bring audiences in. as opposed to making, and I love art house movies, as opposed to making more kind of like obtuse film festival art house movies. That's just kind of where our passion lies, to find and support, young voices like that. So yeah, it started around Knives Out, and we started it up. And the other thing about T Street, part of it is the filmmaker voices that we pull in, like Cord Jefferson and Chloe Dumont, and but the bigger thing of T Street is we have, like, on the feature side, we have like 4 producers working at T Street, and a few of them are people who used to be like our assistants and are now producing for the company. Some are people that we brought in. But really what T Street is, and this is the special sauce, it's kind of a training ground for producers of the Ron Bergman style.
Okay.
So we don't have like an executive pyramid. We don't have like a VP of this and an executive of this and a VP of that. We just have producers. And when a movie starts, when a filmmaker comes in with their project, that producer is with them from the beginning to all the way through the ends of the process. And it's 2 things. It's giving the filmmaker what Ram gave to me, which is someone who's genuinely shepherding the thing through. And it's training this new generation of producers to do that and truly valuing them in that regard. I feel like producers sometimes, just because people kind of don't really know what they do, don't get the value and don't get the respect that they really deserve.
The training ground is interesting, because I'm working at a college now, and it's funny, like most of the student projects that we work on, they get assigned 4 roles. It's like a production designer, a DP, a producer, and a director.
Right.
And those are like the 4 that we kind of give every group. All the other roles get filled in. But I've heard some of the student producers say things like, we try to keep everything as like professional of a set as possible. And I've heard some of the student producers go, well, if we just wrap at like 5.5 hours, we don't have to feed anybody. and I like point at them like in the middle of class, and I'll go, okay, you guys have all met the worst producer in school. But it's like, because a lot of them, I think that the training ground that they get is like, these are the rules as they're written. So how do I skirt them? But it's like having somebody actually show them the pathway and like how to treat everybody with respect. And
100%.
It's so necessary. You have to have that somewhere.
100%. And it's all about the human relationships. And a great producer like Ram will understand that at every level. Ram has relationships with studio executives all around town, also with other producers, also with department heads, also with the people that the department heads hire, also with all the assistants. He understands that a great producer is somebody who, it's all about forming those human relationships. It's all about, and I mean, he's I don't know. He can be a hard ass also, but everyone still loves him. Yeah, and that's the other mark of a great producer.
I think it's the same thing. Like it's like if you say yes to everything, when you say no, it means something.
Right.
If you're helping all along the way, and then you finally hit the wall, that means something. Right. It's like you're actually crossing a line, right. But it's like knowing where that is the most important thing.
Yeah, but it's tough. Where does that get taught?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. No, that's at T Street.
T Street is kind of the answer. I mean, the reality is,
plug it.
I mean, look, I have, coming up, like directing, I've seen directors when I was starting out who are, much more talented than me, who didn't have a ROM. And it's just having somebody who can navigate those waters, and then also you can personally trust, and that also you feel good about being, you genuinely feel like you can turn your back on them. And more than that they're going to be supporting the project and always thinking about the best way forward for it. I mean, it's I feel so lucky when I say that's the reason I'm still doing what I'm doing. It's not like false modesty or something. It's genuinely true that I wouldn't still be making movies if I hadn't met Ram back then. It's so vital. Yeah. It's the whole thing. Yeah. Man.
Ryan.
Yeah.
This has been great.
Oh, dude.
It's been great having you
Thank
here.
you so much.
It's been so much fun.
Yeah.
Guys, check out Wake Up Dead Man. It's going to be on Netflix. And you should also check out all of his other movies that we talked about, because I think you're going to learn a lot.
I think also if you can see Wake Up Dead Man in theaters, you should definitely try to find the screening because I think it's awesome just to see your films on the big screen because you're still a director that I think thinks about films in theaters.
Yeah.
And it was such a cool experience to see it on a big screen. So.
I appreciate that. Track it down if you can.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right.
And also,
Oh,
go back into the Rap Drinks podcast. Listen to it. If you want to make movies, if you want to work in film and you want to know what's actually up with how a film set feels, this is the best podcast that I've ever listened to that gives you a sense of that. So dig back into the catalog and go to film school, man.
fuck yeah. I'm going to have to
Film
talk to
school
the
meeting
PR
this
team
podcast.
about using that as an
I got you. I got you. I got you.
Thank you so much, guys. See ya.
Cheers, guys.
Later.